doing a lot of thinking today and reading up, because good friends give you the moon and Bibles and crystals. Matthew 7:24. Build your house on the rock. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So let's take this deeper into this very relevant time. The meaning that everyone that listens to these words and does them, anybody who's listening and teaching the practices is to find the kingdom of heaven that is within. You're not anywhere else out in space or time. I see the kingdom of heaven as a transcendent dimension that is within you, a deeper or higher dimension of consciousness, accessible to everyone. And the man building the house is you. The house is you, your temple. And the floods came, the rain came, comes beating against the house. And obviously, that rain, that flood, are emotions, adversity in general. The adversity you encounter, as you inevitably will in your life. So some form of extreme adversity, whether it's on a personal level, and like right now we're all experiencing it on a collective level. And if you haven't gone deep enough, because remember, you're the house, and if you haven't gone deep within you, you haven't found anything beyond that conceptual, thinking mind. So then the floods and the rain and the wind and the adversity, whatever it is, in this case, will devastate you. And even if you do not fall ill or, contract, the point is to become aware of yourself, not to become self-aware of your personal history. It is to be a time of self-healing, cleansing and awakening for the world right now. The conscious presence of self-awareness. Thinking is an obstacle. You have to go deeper into thinking, and you can be completely awake and present, and yet it's very little mind activity. And that's the beginning of realization of your deep identity with, your essence. And if it's separated from the present moment, in that deeper dimension of consciousness, that's how you identify things. That's the meaning of digging deep and finding that unshakable foundation that is deep within you, within everyone. Adversity is an amazing, wonderful opportunity because adversity forces you to go deeper. It forces you to awaken to the deeper dimension of who you are. And it forces you because life becomes unbearable. You live only on the surface of sense, perceptions, and your conceptual mind. And then you listen, to the news or whatever is going on around you. You can read all these things, and then everybody's in a state of fear. That is the house built on the sand, that when the floods come, the winds come, the storms come, the house collapses. That's the anxiety, that's the fear building up. Meaning you become devastated. Extreme anxiety, suffering, fear of something that hasn't personally happened to you yet. If you got that disease, it's a very different thing, right? Is your house built on sand? Or are you able to dig and find that rock foundation within yourself that frees you from fear? Now, when things are going well, it's unlikely that most people are not going to be bothered with digging deeper within themselves. It's, they're thinking about, if this wasn't going on, they'd be like thinking about your vacation or the weekend coming up, your next meal waiting for you, everything that's in your comfort zone. I've never heard of anybody awake in their comfort zone, and there is nothing wrong with your comfort zone. Nothing. Enjoy them while they are there, while they last. And then when you have adversity, convert that on a personal level. It's that potential when you suddenly are confronted with the fact of morality. Serious, morbid illness, country collapse, invasion, the pandemic. Adversity is not just affecting one person, it is now affecting millions of people at one time. This is an invitation to go deeper. Because if you don't suffer, this, that anxiety, that fear, this is an opportunity to either awaken out of the mind identified state of consciousness that you continuously project itself into the future that you have no control over. It is never present. That's the state of our mind. Depression and all that is past. Anxiety, fears the future. It is a house built on sand. Yes, it's all about how the surface looks. Very negative, very daunting, very overwhelming, very scary. And it looks like an obstacle, but it's also an obstacle to the well-being of humanity. This is I'm calling this the Great Awakening. Yes, it's an obstacle of well-being of humanity on a purely physical level. Perhaps temporarily. We can hope. But being conventional is an opportunity for you to awaken to a deeper state of consciousness. humans do not awaken while they're in their comfort zone, which I had just made a video about this. You are awakened when you are taken out of that comfort. And not everybody is going to see that as an opportunity. You know, glass half full, half empty, you know? Mine's kind of empty, but look at all this space I have to put more in. Be an opportunist. With the suffering, you're unhappy, you're anxious, you're fearful. You haven't found the rock. Now, the difference in actual life is the man had already dug deep and he had already built his house on the rock, and then the floods came. So the adversity is beating against the house and is going to continue to do so. So it's arising in your life, and the adversity is forcing you to go deeper. It forces you, and it's not too late. This is an accelerated awakening for a lot of people, hopefully. And so, as much as possible, whenever you feel yourself drifting off into, a state of fear, a state of consciousness, a fearful emotional state, whenever you realize that, what is this present moment? There is nothing to fear in this present moment. And you have to verify this for yourself, whether it's true or not. When you fear something, especially in an imagined future moment, am I going to catch this disease? Am I going to die? Are my loved ones going to catch it? Are they going to die? My family. Yes, imagine, it can happen. But right now, this is not happening, hopefully for you. So when you feel yourself drifting into fear, realize, okay, I've lost the present moment. I've lost myself in my mind. And that thinking mind takes over. And then the emotion is going to reflect that mind activity. So that moment, what is it? Okay, I've lost that. So what do you do in those moments? Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your breathing. Be aware of your thoughts and the things you're saying to yourself. And the energy field in your body and around you. Your body is alive. This life energy in your body that you feel. You are breathing. You are alive in this body. The way you sense your perceptions, look around. You become aware of the presence inseparable from who you are and who you are. And it's an amazing realization. There is so much more to you. The person, the presence that's deeper within you. You have to have that needed adversity to find it. This is actually a great opportunity. Use it wisely. Take precautions. Do your best to help others. And there is a saying that goes, when the ego weeps for what it has lost, your spirit rejoices for what it's found. So what looks bad on the surface is an essential function. Be present. Don't lose yourself in your mind. Don't lose yourself in fear. Find and be rooted in this rock, in this essence, of yourself. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling fearful, write it down. Talk with somebody. Do self-care. Okay? Be your rock. When you can be that rock, you can be others' rock and foundation as well, if they are stuck in that fear. Don't worry about money, losing your home, losing your place, not having enough. Get out of that lack mentality. We, as the world, as a collective, are facing the same things. This is a time to be grateful for what you do in fact have, and making use of those things. If you have your family, love them deeply. Get to know them if you don't. Find yourself if you don't know who that is. I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube channel. If you're watching it on my YouTube, please subscribe. I am almost at my super big main goal, and I would truly appreciate it. And I love all you guys for all the support. And we're gonna get through this. We're in this together. So continue to smile.